Hazer, can you describe from your point of view the 72-hour weekend you guys had just went through? You started with, I think, realistically, some thin hopes of being able to make the postseason just because of all the help you need, in addition to winning two games in less than 72 hours, and you end the weekend playoff bound. What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was a bit of a roller coaster, to say the least, I think. Yeah, and if you were a betting man, that'd be one heck of a parlay, I guess, in betting terms, right? But again, our focus, and I know a couple guys have said it along the way here, was just like we could only have controlled what we could control. And we had a good weekend of lacrosse, and a great weekend of lacrosse has kind of changed our perspective a little bit here. And like I say, we're one of eight with a chance, and that's the biggest thing here for us. That step one of what we wanted to accomplish this year. Again, lots of help with over the course of the weekend, but we did what we needed to do here at the end of the day. We had two really good games, first and Friday night in Georgia, where it was nice and tight, and then Saturday or Sunday, I think we were just a little bit better. And again, that's what you need leading into playoffs. Hopefully, playing your best lacrosse and looking back at it, that last weekend was our best lacrosse of the year. So yeah, like I say, we got a chance.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the original Nighthawks had a three-peat, I believe, in the early 2010s. Wasn't one of those years a season where it kind of went down to the wire just to get in?
I believe year one we were 7-9 or something like that, and I think again I'm not 100% sure there, but I do know we were 7-9, and again kind of scrapping and clawing to give ourselves a chance. And I think too, you kind of referenced at some point through the year as well when we got to the finals in 18. I think we were 2-8 at one point, and kind of scratched and clawed to get into that one too. We came to the last weekend, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Ripper probably better historian on that than me, but yeah, it was yeah, similar, I guess.
In that vein, though, it goes to show that like once you're in, you're in. Anything can happen. So right now it's a one seed Toronto versus an eight seed Rochester team. How confident are you in the group? Despite we were talking about odds and parlays, the odds are probably again on the plus side when it comes to the Nighthawks.
Yeah, no, 100%. And then that's the way it should be. Toronto's a complete team, and again, they've been a complete team from their goaltending to their D is exceptional. They close gaps, they're physical, they push tempo, and offensively, they're really tough to stop. And again, you go kind of watching their game in Saskatchewan, they know how to turn it on at the right times and get the job done. And yeah, we're looking at it, and we got to play our best, but to a certain degree, we got to play perfect.
Is there any benefit that they are one of the more recent opponents? I mean, I think it'll be by the time you guys step on the floor Saturday, it'll have been what, two weeks, I think, since you last played them. So, is there a benefit to having recently seen them and kind of know what they're about firsthand?
Yes and no, and again, we sort of more to look at it at ourselves versus them. I don't think we can play any worse than we did in the first half, to say the least. And again, I do expect us to be much better stepping on the floor, because it is fresh and and yeah, we know how we played, and it's in the back of our minds. And again, it's going to come down to the little things here at the end of the day, but starting on time is going to be key for us. And again, with that recent egg we dropped, we should be ready to correct that for sure.
And the only other thing I have for you, Hazer, is you talk about that first half, and I was talking with Smitty about it yesterday, and we're pretty blunt with how those opening 30 minutes in Toronto went. But even in a loss, it's hard not to look at Rylan Hartley's performance and not say that he was a shining star. And he kind of continued that into the last weekend of the season. How pivotal do you expect him to be in the playoffs for you guys now that he is 100% healthy?
Yeah, he's going to be key. And again, at every team, you look at the guy in between the red posts. But really, at the end of the day, if he's going to make the saves for us and give us that opportunity, then we'll take it and run with it. And again, it's a good shot in the arm here for us, I think, at this particular time, because again, he's been battling all year long, and his motion and his excitement and his joy about being back on the floor is contagious. It started in that Toronto game for us. and it pushed over into the last two of the last weekend. So yeah, yeah, he's going to battle. We're going to battle for him, and yeah, I do expect things. And again, expect things to be different, result wise. We'll see at the end of 60.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach. Adam or John, either of you want to jump in here?
Yeah, I'd love to for a second. So Coach, first of all, how you doing? So as Andrew was pointing out, during that three-peat, there was a 7-9 season and then 8-8, and you guys came back. And I know when I was talking to Ripper for the feature I did on him that, for him as an announcer, it does prove that anything can happen. I was wondering, from your perspective, do you see any similarities in terms of the roster that you have now and maybe the rosters you had back then, that gives you a little bit of hope or insight into what is possible during this playoff run, considering how the regular season went?
Yeah, like I say, obviously the people and the characters on that team and then on this team are totally different. But we again had a number one goalie and number one goalie in that league in Vino. And again, he hadn't quite established himself, but didn't quite establish himself at that level, right? And again, we got a young D around him with a mix of veterans and a young offensive core with again a couple of veterans up there, and we're pretty similar now. Where, like I say, we have a young, we call our number one goalie, hasn't quite established himself in this league. We got a good decor that's young, physical, can play with pace, with great veterans around them. And offensively, we got two young superstars with a wily veteran and Niter and Turner that kind of help push us over the edge there. So it's similar. But again, at the end of the day, it's a totally different as well, because again, it's a group that's, trying to find their way and trying to get to that level. And until you do, it's just another young group.
And so it is interesting because, we talk about the idea of wanting to be at your best headed into the postseason. And, I think that offensively, you guys have always been, this season at least, you've been quite strong. Transition and defense has been a focus of improvement for you guys. And you capped it off brilliantly in that Philadelphia game. Can you break down a little bit why you guys were able to be so successful against a Philadelphia offense that is very talented?
Yeah, I think something a little bit of playing the back to back as well kind of helped us a little bit because we were loose and we were playing free and I think it was just our right time as well as a group that we were able to play with a bit of pace and get on hands and be physical quickly to Philly's offense. And it just kind of steamrolled from there, where it was basically we knew extra motivation. We knew what we had to do. But it just it just worked out. And guys, can't necessarily put my finger quite on it, but I just think it was our time to have a good game against Philly at the end of the day, because they, half jokingly said it to Paulie Day afterwards is, we finally slayed our dragon. They're the one team that had our numbers since inception. Since we've been back here in Rochester, as far as this group's concerned, and it was our time to do what we wanted and expected.
And of course, the chess match between the two of you is always very interesting with your relationship with each other. I did just want to ask also, and I know that this is, focus on the playoffs and it's a team game, but obviously Connor Fields was electric in that final weekend and played such a huge role, and he's been in the MVP conversation all year long. I just wanted to kind of see if you had a comment or a case that you would make as his head coach of what his deservingness is of being MVP.
Yeah, no, again, I think his numbers speak for themselves, and again, I said it at some point along the way that, unfortunately, our team record may not give him any help in that sort of matter. But our team record is 1 of 8 in the playoffs. And after that weekend, he put us into the playoffs on his exceptional play. He had great numbers that week. And again, he's been fairly consistent throughout the year for us as far as that's concerned. And again, right now, leading into playoffs, and again, I'll switch gears here a bit. Like, he's 100% healthy finally. There was a stretch there where he wasn't, and his numbers dropped type deal. But yeah, like I say, he's a special player. Again, I think his numbers do speak for himself. His loose balls and what he's able to do on the offensive end with that. He's the only one offensively that has those type of numbers. So you know what? I do think he is definitely deserves to be part of that conversation. I think he does deserve it, but there's also a lot of good players in this league, and then they all deserve it too at the end of the day. So, what happens beyond there is what it is. I think Fieldsy will take opportunity to win a championship in this league, and I think that's what we're all striving for here.
Thank you so much, Coach, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for doing this, Mike. I'm the TSN representative, so I have questions from Ash and Pat, so bear with me here. Some of them are similar, so I'll try and amend as I go here. First one looking at is what was the mindset of this team, knowing in those final two games you win, you have a chance to control getting in, but you need to step up, and so you've already battled that pressure getting into the playoffs. That's usually when everyone talks about the pressure, but it's kind of started for you two games ago already. What was the mindset from your team heading into those two games?
You know what? I think and I think it's been the mindset we've been in kind of in the last 4 or 5 weeks as well. Because again, we were trying to get out of a stretch. We were, like I say, we put ourselves with a little bit of a run there, bringing us back to where we 6-6, 6-7 or something like that to give us an opportunity to have playoffs within our reach, and we could have controlled a few things, made it a little easier, not leaving it just to the last weekend. And again, we kind of stumbled a little bit, but that's the learning curve in this league, and expectations, and it's kind of one thing that we did talk about, right? Our wants have got to meet our work ethic, and our expectations were a little greater than our work ethic leading into that last weekend. It didn't quite match, and I think for us it was okay. All we can do is just go into Friday night in Georgia and just win that shift, and then win the next one, and then just kind of build and sit back, watch, and see what happens. And if it gives us another opportunity, then we got to do the next thing again there. So on Sunday, and again, we managed to do it. And I think which bodes well for our mentality and our preparation is the same thing as this weekend here. All we can do is worry about the next shift or this shift and then the next shift and build. And at the end of the day, play good lacrosse and good team lacrosse and see where we are.
Adam brought up Rylan. To see him get back in the game and now he's your guy. How surprised are you that his level just to get back playing has risen so quickly? How proud of him are you to see him excel in that position? Because I don't know that it's guaranteed someone misses that much time and comes back and is able to play at the level you need him to win these games.
No, 100%. And again, that thought I think is always in the back of your mind, what he's going to be coming out of it. But his preparation and his process through that period, again, the kid is a competitor through and through, and all he wants to do and all he wants to be is a goaltender in the NLL, and playing for the Rochester Knighthawks and helping them, and that alone just kind of propelled him. And I think, when we talked a couple of weeks ago, it was like he was getting ready and we held him back a little bit as far as that side was concerned. And he was ready then, he's ready now, and he's chomping at the bit to see what happens.
Just to continue that thought process, Pat was asking what adjustments you made. Hartley was so great in that second half, and you guys as a team, really clamped down and allowed Toronto to just 3, I believe. So Pat's asking what adjustments at the half were you thinking of that, may have come into your game in that second?
I don't know that it was necessarily adjustments that we made. It's just that we knew that we had more to give. I think at the end of the day, we to a man, we could be better as an individual, which would be better as a team. And again, Rylan jumping in there as well kind of changed, again, changed things a bit, changed the mood a bit, I guess, as well. Because again, he was again, he's a fiery guy, and he let every single person in that locker room know that that wasn't acceptable after that first half. And when he's able to do that, and and then control his emotions and play that way, it was a good sign for us. And again, it's something that we have looked back at and said, okay, like it's not a X and O's thing. It's a mindset thing, and it's a will thing. And if we can just continue with that will and that thought that, we're going to control and do what we think is going to be best as a group, see where we land.
Well, I'd like to, yeah, you led me perfectly into the mindset part of things. And, when will you know early against Toronto if your team's playing with the confidence they need to be playing with to either answer back or set the tone?
You know what? I think it will be the first shift. If we're able to defensively get out on hands and kind of dictate a little bit as opposed to sitting back and reacting. And again, it's tough to do, and again, especially against Toronto, because again, if you make a mistake, they're just so dynamic, they're going to get you. But if we're able to do that and just sort of, have that bit of a physicality and get involved in the game early on the offensive end as well, being physical and just moving our feet with a little bit of pace and purpose, we'll see. If we go back to that last game and I got to throw a challenge flag in the first 2 minutes of a game and then have them score 30 seconds afterwards, then the thoughts might be a little bit different here. But yeah, I think for us early, it's going to be really early if we're going to be able to get involved in. And the thing is, with our group, we know we can play with them. It's just, can we play with them at the level we need to? That's going to be the big question for us.
Two more. Sorry, all. Told you I had a laundry list here. You look at your offense, and as Adam alluded to, you have put up good numbers this year. And there is a premier kind of your two in Smith and Fields. There's no question how impactful and dynamic they can be. How do you allow for this group to be a little more spread out if you need it to be in this winner take all type of game?
Yeah, no, and I think that's the big question that we've had through our stretch and through this year or for us, because when we are, especially early in the season and middle part of the season there, we are putting a little bit bigger numbers because everybody is touching and we're doing the right things and like Fields, he's shooting his shots and getting his shots, but at the same time it's swinging more, and Waters is getting his 1 or 2 a night, and Nighter for us last week getting 2 is big and key, and again Turner getting 1 or 2. It just, if we can spread it out, and that's a focus for our group every time we step on the floor. It just can't be. Like I say, Fieldsy is going to create his shots, and Smitty's going to get his shots. It's everybody else pulling, playing their role and making the most of their opportunities. And when you look back in the film against Toronto, we had opportunities. Kyle Waters had 5 or 6 great opportunities in the middle of the floor, which he thrives on, and he only got 1. So it's one of those ones. They're there. Let's just bury them and make the most of them. And again, if we can do that, then yeah, I like our chances as anybody would, I think, at the end of the day.
Last one, as much as you can give before a playoff game. How's your health, coach? I see, obviously McConvey's back, but how's your health heading into game 1?
Yeah, no, we're like I say, like everybody, we're probably got little bumps and bruises, but as far as that's concerned, who cares? We're going to leave it all on the table here at the end of the day, and yeah, everybody's ready and good to play.
All right, thanks for putting up with us. Appreciate
No problem
it, Mike.
at all. No problem at all. Thanks, Sean.
Ripper, do you have anything, or are you good?
Hazer, looking back at the last couple games, you get Brad Gilly scores his first goal in transition. Taylor Jensen scores his first goal in transition. Obviously, Gilray has been great in transition. OC has 4 goals this year, which I think is tied for the second or third most he's had in his career. Does that give you some confidence to know that, even more guys are pushing the ball now and scoring in transition and getting key goals when you need it?
Yeah, 100%. And then again, those are the ones that you need, because again, they sort of either carries momentum or grabs it back for you type deal, right? And yes, to have more than just Maddie up there and doing something, and Reeser, I think, has been chipping in pretty good. Coatsy pushing, again, not necessarily scoring, and excuse me. And and don't forget about Ogie up there too, because I think you got 2 in Georgia as well, right? So if we can have that kind of production in that level, that's what we're shooting for, and that's what we're thriving for. Because again, it just adds a different layer to our game. We push with pace. We haven't been rewarded, I think, but and again, that's the one good thing about our D side of things is we're going to continue the push. And again, last weekend we were rewarded for our efforts. Let's just hope they drop again here for us this weekend.
That's all I have.
Awesome.
Thanks, Hazer. Best of luck this weekend.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate the time. Take care.
Thanks, Mike. Good luck.